Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Houston, Texas. It's time for Houston Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Hello, Houston. Trisha Stetzel here, bringing you another episode of Houston Business Radio, Serving the Community series. I have the special privilege of this amazing guest on the show today, who was introduced to me by Jason Matreon. He's such a great connector, and I'm so excited to meet and have on the show Dennis Price, who's the founder and CEO of Heroes for Humanity. He spent 17 years in the United States Marine Corps and also served in special ops. So Dennis, I'm so excited to have you on the show and talk about this great event that you have coming up this weekend. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's a massive honor to be here and to just share the word of God and what we're not just what I'm doing here, but what we're all doing. So on November 9th at 5:45 p.m. down in Katy, Texas, we're having a massive fundraiser banquet. We would like to invite everyone to be a part of what we're doing and invite them to the family to hopefully encourage others to use the gifts and talents of the Lord to be his hands and feet with us. We can't do this alone. One of the things I joke around about, I say, man, the sphere of influence that I have, I get operators all day and night saying, hey, send me, let's go on rescue operations for trafficked children. Let's do all this stuff that we do. But I don't attract people like, let's check out your financial plan. How is your marketing doing? Like, I don't, so,
Yeah,
we want to encourage everyone to come with the fundraiser banquet. So we can help finish out 2024's, missions and budget, and then reset for 2025 in the 9 countries we're into this year, into next year.
Yeah, you were sharing with me before we started the show so many things that you've done just in the month of October, which is why we have such a hard push for this event that's coming up this weekend. We really need to sell every single ticket to this dinner. We've got 160 seats. There's still a big portion of that open and available. We're welcoming everyone. And this is not just for people who are in the military. This is open to the public to help support Heroes for Humanity. So Dennis, I'm going to put this in the show notes, all of the things that you guys have been doing along with your background so that people can go and immerse themselves in that. But can you just tell us a little bit of what you did in the month of October with Heroes for Humanity?
Yeah, well, God's been good, and that's to say the least. I joke around and I say, hey, when you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud. When you pray that God uses you to your maximum capacity, you cannot complain that he's using you to your maximum capacity. So we've been really blessed by the Lord to be used like that. So in October alone, if you guys saw in the news, 2 natural disasters happened. Hurricane Helene and hit North Carolina and Florida. And then another hurricane hit Florida. At the exact same time, we branched out from the moment it hit the ground, the hurricane. We had volunteers from Heroes for Humanity the moment the hurricane went. So we've been in North Carolina the whole time, running up, and same with Florida, running up and down the mountains, doing massive amounts of operations of search and rescue, tremendous amount of humanitarian and medical aid. We've done so much. We've gathered like probably 5 or 6 new additions of nurse practitioners and PAs and doctors to the team. So it's such a blessing. And we've been opening up medical clinics for people in stranded areas and all through North Carolina. So we've been running up and down the mountains of North Carolina, and we covered down in Florida as well, but it's still so bad there because then winter was coming. So I just got back 2 days ago, and I still have teams out there who are preparing them for winter, setting up propane generators because they're still without power. We handed out massive amounts of blankets, sleeping bags, warming layers, propane heaters for their house. We set them up. And not just that, we are treating the physical being, and we provide, most of us are EMTs and above, tons of nurse practitioners and everyone. We're providing medical aid and assistance, and as well as spiritual resiliency and spiritual hope. Hope that this will pass, that there will be better times, and just a hope for the future, and closure to their families, as we did search and rescue to find remains of their lost ones, to provide closure for that. That's just in North Carolina. At the exact same time, I said we did Florida, and we just came back from a mission in Cuba this past month, building a soup kitchen for the poor with Assemblies of God out there, and Lone Star Cowboy Church here in Texas, and at the exact same time, we were able to rescue 5 trafficked children, 2 in Texas and 3 in Louisiana. That led to 5 federal arrests in human trafficking. Like, it's been so tremendous and so awesome, and I'm just so happy that to be a part of it. And it's not something I'm doing or what God's doing in my life. It's what He's all doing once we just stand up and say, just like Isaiah said, 6:8 in the Bible says, "Here I am, send me." Use the gifts and talents of the Lord to be His hands and feet in this fallen world. So I really encourage everyone to show up on November 6th at Warehouse 72 for our fundraiser banquet, and just see how they could be a part of the team. And one of the things you mentioned, and you hit it right on, a lot of people self-select and say, I was in the military, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, first of all, I say I weigh hearts, not resumes. In Scripture it tells us that God knows our hearts, He judges our mind, and He judges us by the fruits that we bear. So He knows our intentions of our true heart and how we serve, and He judges us the fruits that we bear. What are we doing with the gifts and talents of the Lord in this fallen world? We always say, God, how can you let this happen? How can you let this do? And instead, no. How did you let this happen? I equipped you with a voice. You have a podcast. You have a voice. I've equipped you with a military background. I've equipped you with marketing skills. I've equipped you with an MBA in business. I've equipped you with a great network through entrepreneurs, because we openly need corporate sponsorships, because we can't just we've been working off the widow's mite alone and our faith. But like I told you before, we're in 9 countries this year and the next year. So we openly need people to be a part of the team, see how they can contribute, show up at the fundraiser. And if you can't show up, then awesome. Spread the word to everyone and anyone about the tickets. And then if you can't do that, because each $50 of each ticket goes directly to Heroes for Humanity, and the rest covers the event, the dinner. But if you can't make it there, then go on and donate to our cause. We're 501c3, federally tax exempt. So we offer tax breaks and everything like that. And ultimately, like, our third pillar is evangelism. If you want a place to tithe, if you want a place to sow your seed, and know that it's not just going to a place that gets up and sings songs about the Lord, but who is the action arm and using the gifts and talents to be the Lord's hand and feet in this fallen world. If you were sick of flipping through the TV and saying, I've had enough of this world, like, man, this stinks so bad, what is that glimmering hope? I'll tell you, it's not Heroes for America. It's not Veterans for America. It's not any of that. It's Heroes for Humanity. We're agnostic to whatever country, agnostic to what anything like that, and like, ultimately, I care if you're a Christian. Like, I would like for you to come to Christ, but ultimately, it's just people doing the right thing for the right reason, and it doesn't have to be worth it to do the right thing. It's just people helping people. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. And Heroes for Humanity cannot operate without support. And you've got lots of boots on the ground. And I'm sure that there are people listening to the show today that might like to be a part of the operations team. So please reach out to Dennis. He would love to have you on the team. But more importantly is the support, the financial support of this organization. Y'all, listen, Dennis may not tell you this, but I know he's working 3 jobs so that he can keep this nonprofit running and get to the event. If you can't get to the event, buy a ticket, spread the word. The link to order your tickets is going to be in the show notes. So please do that. Also, Dennis, I heard you say that you need corporate sponsors. That is another way that bigger organizations can give back to this beautiful work that your team is doing through Heroes for Humanity. And without those corporate sponsors, there is no nonprofit. we have to have the support out there. You guys could be boots on the ground all day long, but you've got to have that financial support as well. So if you're listening to the show and you want to give to an organization that is really boots on the ground, really helping people all over the planet, then this is the place that you should land. So Dennis, I know you have a very, very long backstory, and I really want folks to understand what that is. So I will, as I mentioned earlier, put all of those videos and the appearances that you've made in the show notes so that they can go back and look at all of the amazing work that you've been doing. I understand we're really pushing for this event this weekend because you've been so busy all over the place doing so many amazing things. So, Dennis, what is one thing that you would really like for folks to take away from our conversation today?
Ultimately, so I'll first go over our 3 pillars of what we are, because then it's going to tie into that last one and answer that question. So our 3 pillars at Heroes for Humanity, they're all equally weighted and none over the other, but it's precision personnel rescue. We've rescued people, the Americans who we left behind in Afghanistan. That's where we all started. I pulled out 77 Americans and vetted interpreters out of Afghanistan by swimming across the Panjshir River Valley. That's when I came to Christ, and I realized, as alone, I was a broken man, but look what God did with the pieces. So I then submitted my life to Christ, and going from taking lives to saving lives, that's what God had this whole time. If you guys watch my testimony in that video, you will see that it's not just there's a lot of similarities that maybe a lot of people can relate to, but it's when we focus inward that we start decaying, and it's something greater than us. And we that was the trials and tribulations that led me to be qualified to the guy to go into Afghanistan behind enemy lines, swim across, and pull out 77 Americans and vetted interpreters who we left behind. And then when Ukraine kicked off in the initial invasion, and I did the first 9 months out there doing humanitarian and medical aid and doing precision personnel rescues out there, before any American was allowed to go, or any dollar support of America, because they thought Russia would start World War III. So we were out there serving those, being like I said, the hands and feet of the Lord. And then doing it in within the United States and globally is rescuing trafficked children. That movie Sound of Freedom really opened eyes to one of the problems. Not one of the largest business in the world is human trafficking. The number one largest consumer is America. So we're just so busy with that. So precision personnel rescue, we rescue displaced refugees of all who are suffering from human rights violations all around the world. We rescue trafficked children, anyone who has a call to help. We are that glimmering hope for them. And so our second one is humanitarian and medical aid. Just like our humanitarian missions in Ukraine to I said North Carolina, Florida. We've covered so many tremendous ones in Louisiana, the hurricanes in Beryl in Texas, all over the world. We are covering down actively. And all of our deployed team, or almost all of them, are EMTs and above. We have a tremendous amount of doctors, nurse practitioners, PAs, and I encourage more to be there. We're very heavily in South America in 2025, to include Africa, and some places in Southeast Asia. And then our third pillar after humanitarian medical aid is evangelism. I tried so hard to hold this part out, because I was like, what do people think? I know that it's illegal in 26 countries to have a Bible or talk about Christ or be a Christian in 26 countries. It's punishable by death or arrest. So I was like, well, I still want to help people in these ones. How do I do this? And then ultimately came down to a few scriptures in the Bible. And if I didn't have that third pillar, who gets the glory? This is not the Dennis Price Foundation. This has nothing to do with me. I gave away this nonprofit before, and I might do it again, because this has nothing to do with me. Mother Teresa said it best: I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone that causes many ripples. Mm-hmm. So this is not the Dennis Price Foundation. This is what God is doing in all of our lives, and how we can be a part of it. So evangelism, Christ said that if you deny me before man, I will deny you before my Father. So who gets the glory in this? If God orchestrated this massive miracle of Afghanistan evacuations and all this stuff that he's actively doing, and I didn't mention, who gets the glory in that? And so when it comes down to revelations in the Bible, it says that we'll conquer over the enemy by the blood of the Lamb, that's Jesus Christ, by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony. What is God doing in your life? So that is how we make a difference in this world, is what is he doing in your life, and what are you doing with those skills to conquer over the enemy in this fallen world? Um, so I just really want to say the biggest takeaway in this, man, if we don't get a single dollar, like, hey, that stinks, but I can't, like, just like what you mentioned, I work 3 jobs so I could do this for free. So, I can't help that people don't donate. I can't help that maybe a corporate sponsor doesn't bite off or anything like that, but I can help that anytime someone hears my voice, they will hear the voice of sowing seeds of the Lord. They will hear me share the gospel. What is evangelism? It just means sharing the good news. Like, hey, man, we flip on TV all day long. We see garbage. We see sowing seeds of hate and discontent. We scroll through social media. We see that divide. Man, I tell everyone, unplug all of that. We know we live in a fallen world. What are you doing to actively change that? What are you doing to step into prayer? What are you doing to make a difference in this world? And I'll tell you one thing. There's many awesome organizations out there, but I know exactly what we're doing, and that we're trying to keep it pure and authentic, and using that and being that true answer and glimmering hope for people in need. And we're trying to be those heroes for many and use the gifts and talents of the Lord to be his hands and feet. So please, I invite all of you to the fundraiser dinner. Please push our ticket sales for that. Just help spread the word of who we are, help with the corporate sponsorships. We're openly trying to do and advocate for this, and we do it all for the right reason. And like I said, ultimately, I do care if you're Christian, because that is one of our jobs as a Christian organization, and as my personal beliefs. However, I don't care if you're Christian or not. At the end of the day, what Heroes for Many is people helping people, doing the right thing for the right reason. And the biggest thing is, it doesn't have to be worth it to do the right thing. There's no return on investment. There's just do the right thing. Where would this world be at if we led with our hearts and not with our wallets? People always say, oh, but I have a family to provide. I have 4 kids. That's why I work 3 jobs to do this all. And I'm still married. And I have such a strong, amazing wife, Charlotte, who helps be my anchor for this. And, but ultimately, this world will not be changed by childless men and childless women. We all have to, it takes a village to raise a family. And if we're all worried about our own backyards, we as a village will fail.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, I heard you say some really profound things that resonated with me. And, it's what is your gift? And I was just thinking about, my gift is being able to have you on the show and get the word out. And those who are listening, if you can't do anything else but share this word, share this show, and share the event, then you've done good, right? You've done good. So please be open and share this event. Be open and share the information about Heroes for Humanity. And gosh, Dennis, you are doing so much good in the world by just opening your heart, right? And leading with that. And I think that is so important to hear, especially right now with the way things are in the world. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, my friend, I'm so just blessed that you came on the show today. You've said so many amazing, profound things that are really going to sit with me for the rest of the week. I hope we can get some more folks into the room for Saturday's event. And tell me, is there a particular place where people can just go and find you? Do you have a website for Heroes for Humanity? What is it?
Yeah, so our website is theheroesforhumanity.org. So,
okay.
And just to throw it out there for people, I know some people might spell it, but heroes is HEROES, and then spelling out .org. Theheroesforhumanity.org. So
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for the spelling, because I do see it misspelled quite often.
yes, yeah. And people always tell me, they're like, I can't find your website or anything like that. And then I see it and I'm like, hey, just throwing out, I had to Google it also. So, when we first started, at what point does it rate the E or does it rate the apostrophe,
theheroesforhumanity.org. Go visit the site. All of the information, if you want to take a deeper dive into the details behind this organization, are going to be in the show notes. So please share. Please show up for the event. If you can't, giving goes a long way in order for Heroes for Humanity to continue to operate and do the amazing things that they have been doing. Dennis, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for today's show. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Houston Business Radio. Until then, stay tuned, stay inspired, and keep thriving in the Houston business community.